Greetings and welcome to the basement. This is a continuation of the tutorial series taking a look at Unity UI and idle games. In this video we're taking a look at the C# implementation. Now it's already been completely written, and the point of this video is not to teach how to program in C#, but rather just simply go over the C# version of the logic to get everything working. Before we dig into the code, let's just take a quick look to verify that yes, everything's working the same. I've got my game logic with a game logic game object with a game logic script attached to it. You can see all my gameplay adjustments, my inventory amounts, my links that I need for everything to turn on and off. I can click the book and get some scrolls. I can set my scrolls to 25, which enables me to buy a potion. There's the icon. Now I get 2. Give myself a bunch of scrolls. Buy some auto quills, and now we can see that, yep, things are going up as expected. So everything's working just the same way. I come over here and give myself 111. And I still have to actually purchase for this information to update. There we go. So we've got everything, all my icons, auto things going, so everything's working as intended. So let's just do a quick overview on the C# logic. First we have, of course, all of the class level variables. The headers, of course, are purely optional. I just have them so that way I've got this nice, neat division in my editor. So I have my gameplay adjustments. Technically, purchase amount doesn't belong in there, but whatever, it doesn't hurt. My inventory stuff, how many scrolls, quills, and speed potions do I have? The UI links that I have, here's all my text boxes that I need for updated information, and of course the buttons for disabling the buy buttons. As a side note, do make sure you include the using UnityEngine.ui statement if you just want to have text instead of UnityEngine.ui.text. And finally, I've got 2 class level variables that are just keeping track of information, the cost information, and those do not need to be exposed in the editor. Initialization, just making sure that our current cost is initialized to the basic quill cost and potion cost. Every frame, we update our text, we update our buttons, and then we add in our scroll power stuff. So I've got quills times quill power, scale that by delta time. Text update, and the button update, if my current cost is greater than scroll, disable, otherwise enable. And same thing, cost is greater than what I have, so disable, otherwise enable. The logic is all the same, which is why I'm really just blasting through this. It's the exact same logic and setup as the Playmaker one. It's just done in C#. Update icons. This one was a little bit trickier just due to the way C# works. I am having to check here. It's like, okay, well, if my quills is greater than 0, I do need to make sure I always go through at least 1. Otherwise, you get no visualization on an update. Just to show what happens with that. Actually, that would be a good idea. Comment that line out. And what will happen? I go to buy a quill, and no icon appears. So that's what that line is for. It ensures that I have at least 1 loop. Update cost. And notice I also don't have the bug here that I had in the Playmaker version, because, yeah, writing a for loop, well, is really easy in C#, shockingly enough. Update costs, the exact same thing. Instead of having each individual operation split up into different actions, I just have one monster of a line showing everything. Same thing down here with updating my purchase amount. And then here's where I have all my buttons. If I click on the book, I get 1 plus my potion power times my speed potions. Set purchase. I pass in an amount based on the buttons. So if we come over here and look at the buttons, I pass in a 1, a 5, and a 100. So that way I don't have to have 3 different methods, one for each button. I just have one method. Oops, we're up here. One method that passes in the amount. And of course that calls update cost to recalculate all of my costs. And then when I buy a potion, my sanity check to make sure that yes, I do in fact actually have the scrolls necessary. And if I do, then update the potions, update the scrolls, update my cost, update my icons. Pretty basic, pretty simple stuff. Now, a few closing remarks. This is very basic. If you are one of my students, replicating this for your prototyping project will not get you a good grade. If you're not one of my students, yeah, again, replicating this, great for education, great for learning systems. Ain't no one going to want to play this. This is just too basic. Now, if I really wanted this to be more complex or to be a better game, I would want to have far more options than just, quill and speed potions. I would want to include offline updates, most likely some form of an offline update where if you close the program and come back in 2 hours, you still get some measure of progress. I would want to have a lot, like I said, more options, maybe a couple different resources, the ability to restart and wipe out all my progress but preserve certain permanent upgrades. There's a lot here that could be done, not to mention the juice of the program. This is so silent. I mean, listen to this. Nothing. There's nothing here. So yeah, we'd want to add in some visual effects. We'd want to add in some audio effects. There's a lot of work here. But as a simple demonstration project, both in terms of setting up a user interface, hooking that user interface up into logic, and the bare bones basics behind the logic both for Playmaker and C# for setting up an idle game, not too shabby. And that pretty much does it for this tutorial series. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button to let me know. And if you would rather be playing Cookie Clicker instead of watching these, well, the dislike button is right over there. Until the next video.